Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the words coming out of your mouth right now are either attracting or repelling wealth from your life? Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly attract abundance, while others struggle despite working twice as hard? Welcome back to another transformative episode, beautiful souls. Today we're diving deep into the hidden power that's been right under your nose this entire time. The divine language of wealth that can literally command the universe to fill your bank account with abundance. Now, let me ask you something that might shake your entire perspective on wealth creation. When was the last time you spent hours researching the words you speak every single day? Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? And yet, we'll spend weeks researching which smartphone to buy, comparing features, reading reviews, watching unboxing videos, all for a device that will be obsolete in 2 years. Has it ever occurred to you that while you're obsessing over technology, the truly wealthy are mastering something far more powerful? Here's the truth that might be hard to swallow at first. Your words possess infinitely more power to create wealth than any device, investment, or business strategy ever could. They are quite literally programming the universe's response to your financial reality in real time. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover is something the financial elite have understood for generations, but have never explicitly shared with the masses. It's not that they're hiding it. It's that most people are too distracted by conventional financial advice to notice what's hiding in plain sight. The wealthiest people in the world aren't just lucky, and they're not necessarily smarter than you. What they've done is crack what I call the cosmic prosperity code, the universal language pattern that governs how abundance flows. They speak a different language than those struggling financially, not in terms of English versus French, but in terms of vibrational communication with the divine treasury of the universe. Has this ever happened to you? You've worked incredibly hard, followed all the practical financial advice, maybe even increased your income, but somehow wealth still seems to slip through your fingers like water. What if I told you that the very words you speak when discussing money, success, and your financial future are creating invisible barriers that block divine abundance from reaching you? The cosmic bank account responds to the energetic signature of your words with mathematical precision. It doesn't judge whether you deserve wealth or not. It simply delivers experiences that match the vibration you consistently transmit through your speech patterns. What's fascinating is that this code isn't complicated at all. In fact, it's so simple that most people dismiss it as just positive thinking. But what you're about to discover goes far beyond affirmations or wishful thinking. If you're ready to continue this prosperity journey with me, tap that subscribe button now. Each video I share is another divine key to unlocking the abundance that's already yours. Join our community of conscious creators who are speaking wealth into existence. What many seekers of abundance discover on their journey is that simply standing in front of a mirror repeating, "I am wealthy," why your bank account is screaming the opposite, creates a jarring internal conflict. You've probably tried those cookie-cutter affirmations yourself, right? And there's that uncomfortable feeling in your chest, that disconnect between what you're saying and what your current reality reflects. It's like trying to pay your bills with counterfeit money. On the surface, it looks right, but there's no real value backing it. This is where most people abandon their transformation process. They conclude that the whole law of attraction thing must be a scam because their affirmations didn't materialize into actual dollars. But here's the revelation that changed everything for me and countless others who've discovered this hidden truth. Those surface-level affirmations lack the proper divine energetic foundation needed to activate the universe's wealth channels. Think of it as trying to make a phone call with no signal. You can say all the right words, but if there's no energetic connection to universal abundance, your message isn't being transmitted. The words alone aren't enough. It's the invisible vibration behind them that makes all the difference. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding this next principle is absolutely critical to your financial breakthrough. What truly separates those who struggle financially from those who seem to effortlessly attract wealth isn't what most people think. It's not your education level. We all know highly educated people living paycheck to paycheck. It's not your family background. Many of the wealthiest individuals came from nothing. And it's certainly not just luck or being in the right place at the right time. The real difference lies in something far more subtle yet immensely powerful. The invisible energy patterns you create through your words, thoughts, and beliefs. These patterns form what I call your prosperity signature, a unique energetic imprint that either aligns you with abundance or keeps you locked in scarcity. When you examine the language patterns of truly wealthy people versus those struggling financially, you'll notice a stark contrast. The wealthy speak a language of possibility, ownership, and expectation. Those struggling tend to speak from a place of limitation, victimhood, and doubt. Same world, completely different reality filters. This isn't some mystical concept. It's actually rooted in how our brains are wired. The words you consistently use literally shape your neural pathways, determining which opportunities you notice and which actions you take. Your subconscious mind is constantly filtering your experience based on the language patterns you've programmed it with. If you've been feeling stuck in your financial situation despite your best efforts, I invite you to pause and consider, what energy have your words been carrying? What reality have you been commanding into existence without even realizing it? Right? I'm examining my words, and if you're ready to discover your own unconscious prosperity blocks, let me share a profound revelation that transformed my entire relationship with wealth. Imagine the universe as a vast cosmic pond, infinite in its potential and perfectly responsive to every energetic input. Now, picture this. Every single word you speak is like dropping a pebble into this divine pond. Those words don't just disappear after you've spoken them. They create ripples, energetic patterns that travel outward through the fabric of creation itself. These ripples don't just fade away. They establish vibrational signatures that the universe perfectly mirrors back to you in the form of experiences, opportunities, and yes, financial circumstances. This isn't mystical thinking. It's actually aligned with quantum physics. At the most fundamental level, everything in existence is energy, vibrating at different frequencies. Your words are literally programming the field of infinite possibilities that surrounds you. The universe doesn't judge your vibration as good or bad. It simply matches it with mathematical precision. This is where most people experience their biggest breakthrough on their wealth journey. They suddenly realize they've been unconsciously coding their financial reality through their everyday speech patterns. Think about it. Have you caught yourself repeatedly saying things like, "I can't afford that," "Money is always tight," or "Rich are just lucky"? These seemingly innocent phrases aren't just descriptions of your current reality. They're actually powerful commands to the universe about what you expect to experience more of. It's like walking into the most literal, minded restaurant you can imagine, where the waiter takes your order exactly as you speak it with no room for interpretation. When you consistently verbalize struggle and limitation, you're essentially placing orders with the cosmic restaurant for more scarcity. You're unknowingly requesting disappointment with financial stress on the side, then wondering why. That's what appears on your plate time and time again. This is why so many hardworking, intelligent, deserving people remain in cycles of financial struggle despite their best efforts. They're caught in what I call the language loop, continuously reinforcing their current limitation through habitual speech patterns that they don't even notice anymore. Their words have become invisible to them. Yet these very words are crafting their financial destiny with unwavering precision. The fascinating thing about this revelation, that it puts tremendous power back in your hands. If your words can create financial limitation, then changing those words can open entirely new pathways to abundance. The universe responds to the energy behind your words, not your bank balance or your circumstances. This means anyone, regardless of background, education, or current financial situation, can begin recoding their prosperity blueprint starting today. Have you ever noticed yourself using these phrases of lack? Are you ready to examine the invisible orders you've been placing with the universe? Type "I'm watching my words" in the comments if you're committing to becoming conscious of your wealth language from this moment forward. What I have observed after years of studying the wealthiest individuals is something that rarely makes it into conventional financial advice. The truly prosperous don't just think differently about money. They speak an entirely different vibrational language altogether. This revelation was a turning point in my own financial journey, when I realized wealth creation begins at the level of communication, both with yourself and with the universe. When you listen carefully to someone who effortlessly attracts abundance, you'll notice they never engage in what I call poverty talk. Their words consistently construct bridges to abundance rather than walls around scarcity. They don't dwell on limitations or obstacles. Instead, their language naturally opens channels for divine wealth to flow into their experience. This is why two people can face the same financial circumstance, yet one will describe it as a temporary cash flow situation I'm resolving, while the other calls it being broke. Same external reality, completely different energetic invitation to the universe. The mindset transformation begins recognizing that your vocabulary isn't just describing your financial situation, it's actively creating it. Think of it this way. The universe is the most literal, minded waiter you'll ever encounter. When you place your order, it doesn't try to figure out what you really meant or what would be best for you. It simply takes your verbal and energetic instructions exactly as you deliver them, with no substitutions or creative interpretations. Your words are precise instructions to the divine treasury, and it fulfills these requests with perfect accuracy. This revelation can be both empowering and sobering. It means that every complaint about money, every statement of limitation, every expression of financial worry is being received as a direct command. Bring me more of this experience. Behind the scenes, the universal forces are simply responding as you wish and manifesting exactly what you've ordered through your habitual speech patterns. I remember when this truth first hit me. I was constantly saying things like, "I can never seem to get ahead," or "There's always more month than money." And guess what? The universe kept delivering with perfect consistency. Exactly those experiences. It wasn't until I began consciously altering my language patterns that my financial journey started shifting in remarkable ways. The wealthy understand this principle intuitively, which is why they guard their words as carefully as they guard their investments. They know that casual comments about money aren't casual at all. They're powerful directives being broadcast into the field of infinite possibilities. This is why financial breakthroughs often follow linguistic breakthroughs. When you change how you speak about money, you change what shows up in your bank account. Have you been inadvertently placing orders for financial limitation? Are you ready to start speaking the language of prosperity instead? Comment changing my orders if you're committed to transforming your wealth vocabulary, starting today. Let me share something that might genuinely shock you once you start paying attention to it. Those seemingly innocent phrases we casually toss around about money. "I can't afford that," or "money doesn't grow on trees," or "that's way too expensive for me." These aren't just descriptions of your current circumstances. They're actually powerful spells you're casting on your financial future. This isn't metaphorical. These words literally create energetic blockages that prevent the divine flow of abundance that is constantly trying to reach you. Think about the hidden messages in these common statements. When you say, "I can't afford that," you're not just stating a current fact. You're programming your subconscious mind and the universe that this will continue to be your reality indefinitely. You're establishing a limiting belief as your primary operating system. It's like installing malware in your prosperity software and then wondering why your financial computer keeps crashing. These phrases carry ancestral weight too. Many of these limiting money statements were passed down through generations, carrying the energetic imprints of past struggles, depressions, and scarcity mindsets that may no longer apply to today's abundant world. When you repeat them, you're unknowingly carrying forward outdated programming that served as protection during genuinely difficult times, but now functions as a prison for your prosperity. The revelation that changed everything for me was realizing that awareness must precede transformation. You can't change what you don't even notice. That's why the first step in this journey isn't actually changing your language yet. It's becoming a detective of your own speech patterns. For 1 week, I invite you to simply observe yourself without trying to fix anything. Notice how often you speak about money from a perspective of lack. Count these instances throughout your day. The key here is to do this without judgment. You're not collecting evidence to beat yourself up. You're simply gathering data about the vibrations you've been unconsciously sending to the cosmic bank account. This awareness exercise alone creates powerful shifts, because what you observe you can change. Most people are genuinely shocked when they realize just how frequently they engage in poverty talk throughout their day. Subscribe to this channel if you felt the energy shift while watching today. I'm committed to bringing you these sacred wealth revelations that transform not just your bank account, but your entire relationship with divine abundance. I remember when I first did this exercise, I discovered I was making limiting statements about money over 30 times daily. No wonder my financial situation wasn't improving. I was constantly reinforcing the very limitations I wanted to break free from. The patterns were completely invisible to me until I started paying attention. What makes this practice so transformative is that it brings unconscious patterns into the light of consciousness. And anything that enters your conscious awareness can be transformed. That's the hidden truth behind all meaningful change. You must first see clearly what you're currently doing before you can choose a different path. If you're ready for this eye-opening revelation about your own wealth language, comment "Becoming Aware" below and commit to monitoring your money talk for the next 7 days. You might be astonished at what you discover. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by sharing what might be the most liberating revelation on your entire wealth journey. Here it is. Abundance isn't something you need to chase, pursue, beg for, or prove yourself worthy of receiving. Divine wealth is actually your natural state. This concept completely flips the traditional paradigm that tells us we must struggle, sacrifice, and strain to earn prosperity. When you truly grasp this truth, something profound shifts in your relationship with money. You realize that scarcity isn't the default condition of life. It's actually an artificial interruption of the universe's natural abundant flow. It's like a dam blocking a river that wants to flow freely. And here's the breakthrough moment. Your language patterns are what create and maintain that dam. This revelation transforms your entire approach to manifesting wealth. Rather than trying to attract money, as if it's something foreign or distant from you, you simply need to remove the blockages that are preventing what naturally wants to flow to you already. It's not about becoming worthy of abundance. It's about aligning with the abundance that is your birthright. Think of how nature operates. Does an apple tree struggle to produce apples? Does it doubt whether it's worthy of bearing fruit? Of course not. It simply aligns with its nature and abundance flows naturally. The same principle applies to you and your prosperity. The universe is infinitely abundant, and you are an extension of that abundance. Where this understanding becomes practical and immediately applicable is in how you speak about money day to day. You can begin removing those energetic blockages by consciously replacing what I call victim language with empowerment language. For instance, instead of saying, "I can't afford it," which positions you as powerless, try saying, "I'm choosing to invest my money differently right now." Do you feel the shift? The circumstances haven't changed, but your relationship to them has transformed dramatically. One statement makes you a victim of external circumstances. The other makes you the empowered director of financial destiny. This linguistic shift isn't just playing with words. It actually rewires your subconscious relationship with wealth and opens divine channels of prosperity that have been blocked by disempowering language. Your brain literally processes these statements differently, and the universe responds accordingly. Another powerful replacement. Instead of "I'm broke," try "I'm experiencing a temporary cash flow situation that I'm actively improving." Same reality, completely different energy. One statement reinforces a fixed identity. The other acknowledges a temporary condition that you have the power to change. What's happening behind the scenes with these language shifts is a complete recalibration of your energy field. You're moving from contraction and limitation into expansion and possibility. And since energy precedes physical manifestation, these shifts in your language create the energetic container for new financial experiences to enter your life. Have you been speaking the language of victimhood or empowerment around money? If you're ready to claim your natural state of abundance, comment "Reclaiming my wealth" below. Let me share another paradigm shifting practice that transformed my relationship with prosperity. When you encounter something you desire but can't currently purchase, perhaps a beautiful home, a luxury car, or even just a meal at that expensive restaurant, most people default to feelings of lack or envy. Their internal dialogue sounds like, "I wish I could afford that," or "That's not for people like me." But this reaction actually programs your brain to focus on what you don't have, reinforcing the very scarcity you're trying to overcome. Try this instead. When you see something desirable, say with genuine appreciation, "I love seeing examples of the abundance available to me." This simple phrase does something truly magical to your consciousness. It transforms what could be a trigger for lack into evidence of possibility. You're essentially telling your brain, "This isn't something separate from me. It's a preview of what's coming into my experience." This subtle shift trains your mind to recognize the countless manifestations of wealth that are already surrounding you daily. Instead of walking through life with scarcity vision, only noticing what you lack, you develop abundance vision, where evidence of prosperity becomes increasingly visible everywhere you look. It's like adjusting the focus on a camera. The abundance was always there, but now you can actually see it clearly. What's happening behind the scenes during this practice is a profound rewiring of your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that determines what information reaches your conscious awareness. When you consistently practice this language pattern, you literally train your neural pathways to filter for evidence of abundance rather than evidence of lack. The impact on your decision-making opportunities and overall energy is nothing short of transformative. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by introducing what might be the most powerful linguistic practice of all, future self language. This involves speaking as if you're already the wealthy, successful person you're evolving into, not as an exercise in fantasy, but as a deliberate alignment with the expanded version of yourself that already exists energetically. When someone asks about your financial goals, instead of saying, "I hope to make more money someday," which contains uncertainty and distance, try, "I'm building multiple income streams and watching my wealth grow consistently." The shift might seem subtle, but energetically it's worlds apart. One statement comes from your current limited self. The other emanates from your expanded future self who already experiences the reality you're creating. This isn't about denial or pretending. It's about consciously choosing which timeline you're speaking from. Your words are either anchoring you to your past and present limitations or pulling your future self in to your present experience. The wealthy understand this intuitively. They don't wait until they have the money to speak like someone who does. Their language patterns precede and create their financial reality, not the other way around. When you consistently communicate from the energy of your expanded self, you create an energetic bridge between your current reality and your desired reality. You're essentially building the invisible infrastructure that divine wealth will flow across to reach you. If you resonate with this revelation, type future self activated in the comments below. There's a critical distinction I need to share with you that makes all the difference in how effectively your words manifest. It's the difference between what I call wishful thinking and authentic aspiration. When most people try to speak positively about their financial future, they default to phrases like, "I hope to make more money someday," or "I'd like to be wealthy in the future." Did you catch the underlying energy? There, it's uncertainty, distance, and implicit doubt. These statements may sound positive on the surface, but they actually reinforce the gap between where you are and where you want to be. They subtly affirm that prosperity is not your current reality. It's some distant possibility that might or might not happen. This creates an energetic delay in your manifestation process. Authentic aspiration, on the other hand, combines present moment truth with divine expectation. For example, saying, "I'm building multiple income streams and watching my wealth grow consistently," acknowledges your active participation in the process, while simultaneously affirming the results that are already unfolding. This creates a powerful manifesting frequency that the universe can respond to immediately. The key breakthrough here is understanding that your language needs to contain both authenticity and aspiration, not one or the other. Pure fantasy without grounding doesn't create results, but neither does rigid attachment to current circumstances. The sweet spot is where honest acknowledgement of your present reality meets absolute certainty about your expanding prosperity. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by revealing another language pattern that's often misunderstood, but incredibly powerful when done correctly. Gratitude language. Many spiritual teachers talk about gratitude, but few explain how to express it in a way that actually accelerates your wealth manifestation, rather than subtly reinforcing scarcity. Here's the hidden truth. Generic gratitude statements like, "I'm grateful for everything I have," actually strengthen a scarcity mindset if they come from a place of settling or making peace with limitations. The energy behind these statements often translates to, "I should be content with what little I have," which is very different from the vibration of expanding abundance. Instead, practice expressing specific appreciation that explicitly acknowledges the flow of abundance already operating in your life. "I'm grateful for the unexpected $50 that appeared in my experience today," or "I appreciate how money consistently finds its way to me in perfect timing." These statements recognize the divine intelligence already working on your behalf and affirm that the channels of prosperity are open and active. This specific gratitude approach does something remarkable to your energy field. It shifts you from a state of wanting or needing more to a state of recognizing that more is already coming. It's the difference between standing with an empty cup, begging for water, versus standing with a cup that's being steadily filled and acknowledging the source of that fulfillment. The breakthrough moment can realize that genuine gratitude isn't about settling for what you have. It's about celebrating. The universe is already responding to your prosperity commands. Has this distinction between generic and specific gratitude shifted your perspective? Type abundance flowing in the comments if you're ready to transform your gratitude language today. Let me share something that might be challenging to hear, but could be the missing key to your financial breakthrough. One of the most pervasive yet invisible barriers to divine wealth is something I call financial complaint language. Our culture actually encourages what I've come to recognize as complaint bonding. Those conversations where everyone competes to share their money struggles, commiserate about prices, taxes, or economic conditions. We've all been in those discussions where people almost compete for who has it worst financially. Here's the revelation that transformed my own prosperity journey. While these feelings of frustration are completely valid, verbalizing them repeatedly is like deliberately watering weeds in your abundance garden. Every time you join the chorus of financial complaints, you're actually strengthening the very conditions you're complaining about. This isn't just positive thinking philosophy. It's energy mechanics at work. What makes this pattern so insidious is that it feels socially rewarding in the moment. There's a temporary connection that happens when people bond over shared financial struggles. But behind the scenes, this collective complaint energy creates a powerful block to the cosmic flow of prosperity that wants to reach everyone involved in that conversation. Think about the ripple effect this creates. Not only are you reinforcing your own scarcity vibration, but you're also contributing to a collective field of financial limitation that affects everyone around you. It's like creating an energetic storm cloud that rains limitation on your entire social circle. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding the solution is just as important as recognizing the problem. The breakthrough comes when you learn how to navigate these social situations without either rudely dismissing others' concerns or adding your own negative energy to the mix. Here's the transformative approach. When someone mentions rising prices or financial challenges, instead of joining with your own complaint, try responding with something like, "It's interesting how these situations always inspire me to find new ways to increase my income." This accomplishes something remarkable. It acknowledges their experience without amplifying the negative vibration, while simultaneously redirecting the energy toward possibility and solution. This doesn't mean becoming tone deaf to genuine struggles or pretending everything is perfect when it isn't. It's about consciously choosing which reality you want to energize and expand. Every conversation is an opportunity to either reinforce limitation or cultivate abundance, not just for yourself, but for everyone involved. I found that these redirecting statements often create fascinating shifts in group dynamics. Sometimes people look surprised, sometimes they seem relieved, but almost always the conversation naturally evolves toward more constructive territory. You become a stealth agent of transformation, subtly elevating the collective field without preaching or judging. The profound revelation here is that your words aren't just affecting your personal prosperity. They're influencing the entire field of consciousness that you share with others. Every time you choose language that empowers rather than limits, you're contributing to an energetic ecosystem that supports everyone's abundance. Have you noticed how financial complaints seem to spread through conversations like a virus? Type "breaking the complaint cycle" in the comments if you're committed to becoming a source of abundant energy in your social circles. Let me reveal another hidden saboteur that be blocking your divine wealth flow right now. Pay close attention to how often you speak about what you can't do because of money. Every time you say something like, "I can't travel because it's too expensive," or "I can't start that business because I don't have the capital," you're not just describing your current situation. You're actively reinforcing the very limitations you're trying to break free from. These seemingly innocent statements function as energetic barriers that literally prevent divine resources from reaching your bank account. Think about what's happening beneath the surface. When you repeatedly verbalize these limitations, you're sending a clear message to both your subconscious mind and the universe that this restricted state is your permanent reality. You're essentially cementing these constraints into your experience. The revelation that transformed my entire journey came when I realized that these statements aren't just passive descriptions. They're active creations. Your words about what you can't do, literally programming the universal forces to ensure that you continue to experience those exact limitations. It's like telling a powerful genie, "Please make sure I remain unable to travel or start that business." What makes this pattern so dangerous is that it often feels like you're just being realistic or practical. But there's a profound difference between acknowledging current circumstances and energetically reinforcing them as permanent fixtures in your life. One is awareness. The other is unconscious creation. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by sharing the transformative alternative. Instead of focusing on what you lack or can't do, shift your language to emphasize what you're actively creating. Replace "I can't travel" because it's too expensive with "I'm planning an amazing trip and watching for the perfect opportunity to make it happen." Do you feel the energetic difference? The first statement closes doors. The second opens them. The first comes from limitation consciousness. The second emanates from creation consciousness. The circumstances haven't changed yet, but your relationship to them has completely transformed. This shift in language does something miraculous to your energy field. It opens receptivity channels to the universe's infinite supply of resources. You're no longer broadcasting the vibration of lack, which repels prosperity. Instead, you're transmitting the frequency of expectant creation, which magnetizes opportunities, resources, and divine timing. Behind the scenes, what's happening is a complete paradigm shift in how you interact with the field of infinite possibilities. When you speak from creation consciousness, rather than limitation consciousness, you activate different neural pathways in your brain and different vibrational frequencies in your energy field. You literally become a different person who will attract different experiences. This single language pattern, focusing on what you're creating instead of what you lack has catalyzed more financial breakthroughs in my community than almost any other practice. It's like flipping a switch that suddenly illuminates pathways that were always there, but previously invisible to you. If you're ready to stop reinforcing your limitations and start creating your abundant reality through your words, type creator mode activated in the comments below. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by revealing one of the most overlooked aspects of wealth manifestation: mastering the language of receiving. This is a profound blind spot for so many people on their abundance journey. Think about it. We spend countless hours focusing on how to attract, create, and manifest prosperity, but very little time developing our capacity to actually receive it when it arrives. Here's the revelation that changed everything for me. Most people struggle with receiving compliments, opportunities, and especially money, because they haven't learned how to speak receptively. Watch what happens when someone offers to pay for lunch. The typical response is, "Oh no, you don't have to do that," or "I couldn't possibly let you," or No, it's my turn." This reflexive rejection seems polite on the surface, but energetically, it's doing something quite destructive to your prosperity consciousness. When someone offers a gift or pays a compliment, try this transformative phrase instead. "I receive that graciously. Thank you." Feel the difference. This simple statement does something remarkable. It trains the universe that you're open to abundance in all its forms. It signals that you believe you're worthy of receiving, which is a prerequisite for attracting greater prosperity. This receptivity practice creates a profound mindset shift that ripples through every aspect of your financial life. When you learn to receive graciously in small everyday interactions, you're actually rehearsing the inner state required to receive larger manifestations of wealth when they appear. You're building the muscle of allowing prosperity into your experience. The counterintuitive truth is that when you deflect abundance in any form, whether it's refusing a compliment, turning down help, or insisting on paying when someone offers to treat you, you're sending a powerful signal cosmic forces that you're not prepared for greater prosperity. You're essentially saying no thank you to the divine wealth that's attempting to flow into your life. Behind the scenes, what's happening is a kind of energetic programming. Each time you deflect or reject abundance, you're reinforcing a subtle belief that you don't deserve to receive, that you must always be the giver, or that accepting creates an uncomfortable obligation. These unconscious patterns create invisible barriers to the very prosperity you're consciously trying to attract. The breakthrough comes when you realize that receiving isn't selfish. It's actually an essential part of the universal flow. Think about nature. The earth receives rain. Plants receive sunlight. And this receptivity is what enables them to then give fruit. Receiving and giving are two sides of the same coin, and both are necessary for divine abundance to circulate through your life. Start noticing your reflexive responses. When people offer you anything from a compliment to a cup of coffee to financial support, are you an easy receiver, or do you habitually deflect and reject? If you're ready to transform your relationship with receiving, comment "open to abundance" below and commit to becoming as skilled at receiving as you are at manifesting. Let me address the elephant in the room that might be making you skeptical right now. When I talk about changing your language patterns around money. You might be thinking, that sounds nice, but words won't magically deposit cash in my bank account tomorrow. And you're absolutely right. I'm not suggesting that simply saying different phrases will instantly manifest millions. That would be magical thinking, not the profound energetic transformation we're exploring. Here's the nuanced truth about how this actually works. Changing your words won't create instant financial windfalls, but it will systematically shift your energy, your opportunities, your decisions, and most importantly, your ability to recognize and act on abundance when it appears in your life. This creates a tangible financial transformation that unfolds over time as your new language patterns rewire both your neural pathways and your energetic field. Think of it as changing the trajectory of a rocket by just 1 degree. At the launch pad, that tiny shift seems insignificant. But 1,000,000 miles into space, that rocket is in an entirely different galaxy. Your language patterns work the same way. Small, consistent shifts create massive, long-term destination changes in your financial reality. The fascinating science behind this phenomenon reveals itself in how your reticular activating system, the filtering mechanism in your brain, actually operates. When you consistently speak from lack, you're literally training your brain to look for evidence that confirms your scarcity worldview. You become hypersensitive to every price increase, every bill, every expense, while simultaneously becoming blind to opportunities and possibilities. It's like programming your internal GPS to only identify problems rather than solutions. You might be surrounded by abundant opportunities, but if your language has programmed your attention filters to screen them out, they might as well not exist for you. This is why two people can face identical financial circumstances, yet have completely different experiences. One sees nothing but limitations, while the other discovers creative pathways forward. When you shift to speaking from abundance, you essentially reprogram your mental filtering system. You begin noticing opportunities, solutions, and possibilities that were always there but previously invisible to you. The revelation that transformed my journey was realizing that abundance wasn't something I needed to create from scratch. It was something I needed to tune my awareness to perceive. The universe operates through precise mathematical principles. Energy flows where attention goes. Your words direct your attention, which directs your energy, which ultimately creates your experience. This isn't mystical. It's the fundamental operating system of consciousness itself. When you understand this causal chain, you realize that your language patterns aren't just describing your reality. They're creating the perceptual lens through which you experience it. What's most liberating about this understanding is that it places the power back in your hands. No matter your current financial circumstances, you can begin reshaping your prosperity. Blueprint the day through the conscious choice of words that align with the abundant reality you're creating. Have you noticed how your language impacts what you perceive in your financial life type perception shift? If you're experiencing this awareness expanding right now I want to go even deeper into this topic by sharing why these language shifts aren't just some mystical concept or wishful thinking. What we're really talking about here is applied neuroscience, the deliberate reprogramming of your brain's filtering mechanism to create a completely different financial experience. Your brain contains what neuroscientists call the reticular activating system, RA, a bundle of nerves at your brain stem that acts as your attention's gatekeeper. This remarkable system filters through the millions of bits of information, bombarding your senses every second, and decides what makes it to your conscious awareness and what doesn't. And here's the revelation that changed everything for me. Your RS is directly programmed by your words. When you speak about money in certain ways, you're literally instructing your brain's filtering system what to look for in your environment. This isn't metaphorical. It's a biological reality. The language patterns you consistently use are creating neural pathways that determine what opportunities, resources, and possibilities you're capable of perceiving. Think about when you bought your last car. Suddenly, you started seeing that exact make and model everywhere, right? Those cars were always there, but your RA wasn't filtering into your awareness until they became relevant to you. Your prosperity opportunities work the same way. They're already present in your environment, but your language patterns determine whether your brain will bring them to your attention or filter them out. By consciously changing your language patterns around money, you're literally rewiring your neural architecture to detect prosperity possibilities instead of limitations. You're creating new neural connections that allow you to perceive opportunities that were previously invisible to you, even though they were there all along. This isn't magical manifestation. It's intentional neuroplasticity. Let me share a practical example that illustrates this principle perfectly. When faced with needing extra money, let's say an unexpected $500 bill, most people default to stress language. I don't know how I'll come up with this money. This always happens to me. Why am I always short? This creates a stress response in your nervous system, constricting your creative thinking and problem-solving abilities while simultaneously programming your RA to look for more evidence of financial problems. Try this transformative alternative. I'm excited to discover the creative ways this 500 will show up. I'm open to opportunities and ready to take inspired action. This language pattern creates a completely different mental and emotional state, one of expanded awareness, creative possibility, and excited expectation rather than contraction and stress. What happens behind the scenes when you make this shift is fascinating. Your brain chemistry literally changes. Stress hormones decrease while feel good neurotransmitters increase. Your neural pathways expand rather than contract. And most importantly, your RA begins scanning your environment for solutions rather than fixating on the problem. From this altered state, you're more likely to notice that freelance opportunity. Remember that refund you never claimed, discover items you could sell, or come up with an innovative service you could offer. The e-money was always potentially available. Your language pattern just determines whether you can perceive and act on those possibilities. If this neuroscience of language resonates with your experience, type neural rewiring in the comments below. Let me share a profound truth. I've witnessed time and again with clients who've mastered these language patterns. When you consistently speak from abundance rather than scarcity, something remarkable happens in your daily experience. You begin to notice opportunities that were invisible to you before. This isn't magical thinking. It's a direct result of the perceptual shift we just discussed from an abundant language mindset. You're suddenly more likely to notice the freelance opportunity that perfect stranger mentions at a coffee shop. You find yourself naturally inspired to ask for that raise you've been deserving. Your creative mind effortlessly generates ideas for new income streams that never would have surfaced in a scarcity mindset. Here's the revelation that transformed my understanding. These opportunities were always there in your environment. Your language patterns simply determine whether you can perceive and act on them. Think about a recent financial challenge you faced. Did your language immediately constrict around what wasn't possible? Or did your words expand into what could be created? The difference in these two approaches creates entirely different perceptual landscapes. One closes doors before you even reach them. The other reveals pathways that were always present but previously hidden from your awareness. The journey of language transformation mirrors the hero's journey in many ways. There's the call to adventure when you first recognize how your words are limiting you. The tests and trials as you catch yourself in old patterns. The mentors and allies who support your new way of speaking. And finally, the return home to a completely new relationship with prosperity. This isn't just about money. It's about fundamentally reshaping your entire relationship with abundance in all its forms. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by addressing something crucial that most manifestation teachers completely miss. The timeline of transformation. Let me be crystal clear. This isn't a one-week challenge where you speak differently for 7 days and expect your entire financial reality to transform overnight. What we're discussing is a fundamental rewiring of your relationship with divine abundance. And that takes consistent practice and patient persistence. Every single day that you practice this new way of speaking, you're building momentum in your energetic field. Each time you catch an old pattern and consciously choose a new one, you're strengthening neural pathways that support prosperity consciousness. Think of it like learning to play an instrument or mastering a new language. You wouldn't expect to be concert-ready or fluent after a few days of practice. Yet each practice session makes you measurably better. The quantum leap in this process comes when you reach a critical mass of consistent prosperity language. Suddenly your new patterns become more natural than your old ones. You find yourself automatically speaking in ways that attract abundance rather than repel it. Your entire energetic signature shifts from contraction to expansion, from limitation to possibility, from scarcity to overflow. What's happening behind the scenes during this consistent practice is a complete recalibration of your connection to universal wealth. You're literally rewiring your energetic relationship with the divine treasury, creating channels for abundance to flow where blockages once existed. Your words become less like a struggle and more like a natural expression of your expanding prosperity consciousness. Have you noticed that some days it's easier to maintain abundant language than others? This natural fluctuation is part of the integration process, type rewiring in progress. If you're committed to the patient persistence required for this profound transformation, let me share something fascinating about what's actually happening in your brain when you begin this language transformation journey. Every time you catch yourself about to speak from scarcity and consciously choose an abundant alternative instead, you're not just changing words. You're literally forging new neural pathways in your brain. This is the science of neuroplasticity in action. Your brain is constantly evolving based on your repetitive thoughts, words, and actions. When you've spent years speaking the language of financial limitation, those neural pathways have become like well-traveled highways. Easy, automatic, and requiring almost no conscious effort. Meanwhile, your abundant language patterns are like overgrown trails through a dense forest. Technically there, but requiring deliberate effort and attention to navigate. What happens during this conscious practice period is remarkable. Each time you choose the language of abundance over scarcity, you're clearing that overgrown trail a little more. You're creating new neural connections that, with consistent use, will eventually become your brain's preferred routes. Some days this rewiring process will feel easier than others. But every single attempt, even the imperfect ones, strengthens your connection to the cosmic treasury. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by offering a metaphor that perfectly captures the journey you're on. Think of mastering the language of divine prosperity exactly like learning to play a musical instrument. When you first pick up a violin or sit at a piano, you don't expect to play a concerto perfectly. After a few practice sessions, the initial sounds might be awkward, your timing might be off, and your fingers might not cooperate with your intentions. Would you conclude after those first imperfect attempts that you're simply not musical and give up? Of course not. You understand that mastery requires consistent practice over time. Each time you practice, you're developing muscle memory, improving your ear, and training your nervous system to coordinate complex movements. Some practice sessions will feel more inspired than others, but even the challenging ones contribute to your progress. The language of abundance works exactly the same way. In the beginning, your prosperity statements might feel awkward or inauthentic, like you're just going through the motions, without the music flowing through you. But each practice session builds your abundance fluency, until eventually these prosperity patterns become your natural way of speaking. The revelation that transformed my own journey was realizing that perfection isn't required for progress. Even catching yourself in scarcity language 3 times out of 10 is improvement. If you previously caught it 0 times, the wealthy individuals I've studied didn't become masterful prosperity speakers overnight. They simply committed to the daily practice of refining their language until it became second nature. Behind the scenes, what's happening is a profound synchronization between your neural pathways and your energetic field. As your brain creates new prosperity circuits, your vibrational signature simultaneously evolves to match. This creates an upward spiral of expanded consciousness that quite literally alters the reality you're capable of experiencing. Has this perspective on the learning process shifted how you see your prosperity journey? Type "practicing prosperity" in the comments if you're committed to developing your abundance fluency one phrase at a time. Let me share a profound insight about the wealthy that completely shifted my perspective. There's a common misconception that financially successful people never worry about money or never face financial challenges. But here's the revelation that changed everything for me. The truly prosperous aren't wealthy because they never think about financial challenges. They've simply mastered the art of thinking and speaking about money solutions instead of money problems. This subtle but critical distinction creates an entirely different relationship with prosperity. When faced with a financial shortfall, most people immediately default to problem-focused language. I'm broke. I don't have enough. This always happens to me. This problem orientation creates a vibrational connection from divine resources, like trying to receive a call in a dead zone. The wealthy, by contrast, maintain an uninterrupted connection to universal abundance by immediately shifting their focus to solutions. What can I create here? How can I generate more value? What opportunity does this challenge reveal? Their language patterns consistently reinforce their identity as problem solvers rather than problem dwellers. I remember witnessing this transformation in a client who came to me constantly overwhelmed by debt. Every conversation centered on how impossible her situation was. Her language was saturated with statements like, "I'll never get out of this hole, and there's just not enough money." Her breakthrough came when she began consciously replacing this problem language with solution language. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by showing you exactly how to develop this solution-oriented language pattern in your own life. When facing financial challenges, instead of saying, "I don't have enough money," which reinforces the lack and keeps you energetically aligned with scarcity, try, "I need to generate more income," or "I need to find a creative solution to this situation." Do you feel the energetic difference? The first statement is a declaration of a fixed state, a problem with no movement possible. The second and third statements acknowledge the situation while simultaneously opening pathways to resolution. They maintain your vibrational connection to universal abundance because they position you as an active creator rather than a passive victim. This solution language creates what I call a prosperity pivot, a rapid redirection of energy from contraction to expansion. It's like the difference between staring at a locked door versus immediately looking for windows, keys, or alternative entrances. The circumstances haven't changed, but your relationship to them has transformed completely. The revelation that unlocked everything for me was understanding that this isn't just positive thinking. It's strategic energy alignment. Your words are literally programming your brain to either fixate on the problem or activate your innate creative capacity. When you consistently speak the language of solutions, you're training your mind to automatically scan for opportunities rather than obstacles. Behind the scenes, what's happening is a complete rewiring of your problem-solving pathways. Each time you pivot from problem language to solution language, you're strengthening neural connections that support resourcefulness, creativity, and resilience, the exact qualities that create and sustain wealth. Has this distinction between problem focus and solution focus illuminated something for you? Type solution activated if you're committing to this powerful language shift. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by revealing an often overlooked aspect of language transformation, your prosperity ecosystem. Think about this truth. No matter how diligently you practice abundance language, if you're constantly immersed in environments where scarcity talk dominates, your progress will be significantly hindered. Your personal language patterns don't exist in isolation. They're profoundly influenced by the collective language fields you inhabit daily. This revelation transformed my own journey when I realized I needed to be far more selective about the conversations I engage in, the social media I consume, and even the news I watch. Each of these inputs creates a vibrational imprint on your consciousness that either amplifies or diminishes your prosperity vibration. It's like trying to tune a piano while someone is playing discordant notes in the same room. The surrounding soundscape makes precision tuning nearly impossible. Think about your current language environment. How often are you participating in collective complaint sessions about the economy, prices, or financial struggles? How much of your social media feed is filled with scarcity messaging about how hard things are financially? Even well-meaning friends and family can unconsciously sabotage your prosperity consciousness through habitual lack language that you've normalized through years of exposure. The breakthrough comes when you begin consciously curating your language environment with the same intentionality you're bringing to your personal speech patterns. This doesn't mean isolating yourself or avoiding reality. It means becoming more discerning about which conversational energies you engage with and how you position yourself within them. When you cannot avoid environments where scarcity language dominates, you can still maintain your prosperity bubble by silently affirming your abundance truths. You become like a conscious filter, allowing the external words to pass through your awareness without absorbing their vibration. This inner sanctuary practice protects your carefully cultivated prosperity consciousness, even when surrounded by collective lack consciousness. The fascinating ripple effect of this practice is that as you elevate your language environment, you simultaneously raise the vibrational field for everyone around you. Your consistent prosperity language creates an energetic invitation for others to step into greater abundance consciousness as well. You become a catalyst for collective transformation without ever needing to preach or convince. Now, let's take this even further by actively seeking content that speaks the language of possibility rather than limitation. Deliberately surround yourself with books, podcasts, communities, and mentors who communicate expansion rather than contraction. Feed your mind with words that inspire growth and strengthen your connection to the universal supply of abundance. This isn't about toxic positivity or denial. It's about consciously choosing inputs that expand rather than contract your prosperity consciousness. The words you consistently consume are literally programming your subconscious mind and energetic field. When you immerse yourself in content that naturally embodies the language patterns we've been discussing, you accelerate your own transformation through continuous exposure to aligned vibrations. The journey of language transformation becomes infinitely easier when you're swimming with the current of abundant expression, rather than constantly fighting against the undertow of collective scarcity talk. Have you noticed how certain environments either elevate or deplete your prosperity consciousness? Type curating my environment if you're ready to be more intentional about the language influences you allow into your field. Let me share a practical implementation strategy that transformed my own prosperity journey. Creating what I call an abundance phrase book. This simple yet powerful practice bridges the gap between intellectual understanding and consistent application. Take a beautiful journal or create a digital document and write down 20-30 phrases that feel authentic to you and reflect the financial reality you're actively creating. These aren't generic affirmations, but personalized prosperity statements that resonate with your unique journey. Money flows to me easily and consistently. I trust my ability to create wealth. I'm a natural money magnet. Financial opportunities find me wherever I go. The key is selecting phrases that create a genuine feeling of expansion when you speak them, not statements that trigger internal resistance or disbelief. Keep this collection of phrases readily accessible, perhaps as notes on your phone, cards on your desk, or even as morning alarm labels throughout your day, especially during potential trigger moments when scarcity language might typically emerge. Reference these phrases to maintain your divine connection. This practice creates an immediate pattern interrupt when you catch yourself sliding into lack language. What makes this technique so transformative is that it removes the need to create new language patterns on the spot when you're already in a triggered state. It's like having prosperity lifelines, readily available exactly when you need them most. The phrases become anchors that instantly reconnect you to your abundant frequency, even during challenging financial moments. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by revealing what happens in your energetic field. As you consistently implement these language practices, something remarkable begins to occur that extends far beyond your internal experience. Others start responding to you differently. The energy of abundant language literally creates what I call a magnetic presence that naturally attracts opportunities, connections, and divine resources. This isn't mystical. It's a measurable energetic phenomenon. When you consistently speak from abundance rather than scarcity, your entire vibrational signature shifts. You become someone who radiates possibility rather than limitation. People can feel this shift, even if they can't consciously identify what's different about you. You'll notice they're more likely to thank you for opportunities, include you in promising ventures, or connect you with valuable resources. The revelation that changed everything for me was understanding that this magnetic presence isn't something you need to consciously project or perform. It emerges naturally as a byproduct of your transformed inner language patterns. Your external reality simply begins reflecting your internal prosperity, consciousness with increasing precision. I've witnessed clients receive unexpected opportunities, synchronistic connections, and financial windfalls shortly after implementing these language shifts. Not because the words themselves are magical, but because their altered energy field is now attracting experiences that match their new vibrational output. It's like tuning a radio to a different frequency and suddenly receiving crystal clear transmission instead of static. This magnetic presence doesn't just attract financial opportunities. It transforms your entire relationship ecosystem. People are naturally drawn to those who speak and embody possibility rather than limitation. Your relationships become more expansive, supportive, and aligned with your prosperity vision. If you've noticed shifts in how others respond to you as you've implemented these language patterns, share magnetic shift activated in the comments below. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by addressing a critical misunderstanding about abundance language that often trips people up on their wealth journey. Speaking prosperously isn't a substitute for action. It's the energetic foundation that makes your actions exponentially more effective. This revelation completely transformed my approach when I realized that language and action aren't separate pathways. They're meant to work in perfect harmony. Think about the difference between taking action from a state of desperate lack versus taking action from a state of abundant expectation. The external behavior might look similar, but the energetic signature behind those actions creates entirely different outcomes. When you operate from abundant language patterns, you naturally make better decisions, engage in more confident negotiations, and demonstrate a greater willingness to invest in yourself and your growth. This isn't just conceptual. It manifests in tangible ways throughout your financial journey. A client of mine who had been job hunting for months was consistently saying things like, "I just need someone to give me a chance. And the market is so competitive right now." Her language reflected a desperation energy that was sabotaging her interviews, even though her qualifications were excellent. The transformation began when she shifted to saying, "I'm excited to find the perfect role where I can contribute my unique value, and the right opportunity is already making its way to me." Within weeks of this language shift, her entire experience transformed. She received multiple offers and ultimately accepted a position that exceeded her original salary expectations. What changed wasn't her resume or qualifications. It was the energetic blueprint she brought to every interaction. Employers could feel the difference between her previous desperate energy and her new confident expectation, even if they couldn't consciously identify why they were suddenly drawn to her. This is how abundance language creates a decision-making ecosystem that naturally guides you toward prosperity. When your words consistently align with abundance, you become more likely to recognize valuable opportunities, more willing to take calculated risks, more confident in asserting your worth, and more resilient in facing temporary setbacks. These aren't separate skills you need to develop. They emerge organically from your shifted language patterns. The breakthrough comes when you recognize that every action you take carries the energetic imprint of the words you've been speaking. If you've been consistently speaking lack language, even your most determined actions will be tinged with that scarcity vibration. But when you've established a foundation of prosperity language, even your smallest actions are infused with the energy of abundance. This creates what I call an aligned action accelerator, where your external behaviors and internal language patterns are working in perfect harmony rather than opposition. Instead of trying to force financial success while simultaneously speaking lack into existence, you're creating a unified field where your words and actions are pulling in the same direction. Has this perspective on the relationship between language and action illuminated something for you? Share aligned action in the comments if you're committed to this powerful integration. Let me share a practical starting point that will create an immediate shift in your prosperity consciousness. The most powerful place to begin this entire transformation is with 24 hours of pure awareness. Before trying to change anything, simply commit to noticing every single time you speak about money from a place of lack. This initial observation period creates the foundation for all the language shifts we've been exploring. Set a timer on your phone to go off every 2 hours throughout your day. When it chimes, take a moment to reflect on how you've been communicating about finances since the last reminder. Have you complained about prices? Made jokes about being broke? Talked about what you can't afford? Expressed worry about bills? Simply notice without judgment. You're gathering data, not criticizing yourself. What makes this awareness practice so transformative is that it reveals patterns that have been completely invisible to you. Most people are genuinely shocked when they realize just how frequently lack language appears in their daily communication. I remember when I first did this exercise, I discovered I was making limiting statements about money over 30 times per day. No wonder my financial reality wasn't shifting. I was consistently reinforcing the very limitations I wanted to transcend. This revelation creates what I call an awakening moment. That instant, when you suddenly see the direct connection between your habitual language patterns and your financial circumstances, it's like turning on a light in a room you've been navigating in darkness. Suddenly, the obstacles that have been blocking your prosperity path become visible. And what's visible can be transformed. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic by revealing the most profound truth of this entire process. The universe is responding to your words right now. In this very moment, as you listen to this message, the cosmic forces are constantly processing your words, thoughts, and energy, not judging your worthiness, but simply delivering experiences that perfectly match your vibrational output. This isn't a philosophical concept or spiritual metaphor. It's the fundamental, operating system of reality itself. Every word you speak is sending precise instructions to the divine treasury about what you expect to experience in your financial life. The universe doesn't evaluate whether these instructions will make you happy or fulfilled. It simply fulfills your orders with mathematical precision. When you consistently speak from lack, struggle, and limitation, you're essentially placing orders with the cosmic restaurant for more of the same. You're unknowingly requesting a steady diet of financial stress, unexpected expenses, and never enough experiences. But the moment you shift from lack to abundance language, you literally change your order with the divine treasury, from struggle to prosperity. The breathtaking revelation here is that this response system is operating with perfect accuracy every moment of every day. It's not something you need to activate or earn. It's already functioning with flawless precision. The only variable is the quality of the instructions you're providing through your words. Your prosperity transformation isn't about convincing the universe to give you something new. It's about changing the orders you've been unconsciously placing all along. Has this conversation illuminated the invisible forces that have been shaping your financial reality? Type divine response activated if you're ready to consciously command the universe to fill your bank account with the abundance that is already yours by divine right. As we reach this moment in our conversation about the divine language of wealth, I want to thank you for joining me on this journey of transformation. The fact that you've stayed with me until this point tells me you're truly ready to command the prosperity that is your divine birthright. If this message resonated with your soul today, I'd love for you to gently tap that like button, not just as feedback for me, but as a symbolic affirmation to the universe that you're aligning with this abundant frequency. Your energy matters, even in the simplest of actions. I've created a sacred space in this community where we explore these hidden truths together. By subscribing to this channel, you're surrounding yourself with exactly the kind of prosperity-focused language environment we discussed, one that consistently reinforces abundance rather than lack. Each video is another step in rewiring your prosperity consciousness. If you felt a deep recognition while listening today, that moment when something clicks and you realize you've been unconsciously creating your financial reality all along, leave a comment saying, "Divine Treasury activated." I read every comment and love connecting with kindred spirits who are awakening to their prosperity power. Right over here, you'll find another video that builds perfectly on what we've explored today. It reveals the exact morning ritual that programs your subconscious for wealth while you sleep. Your prosperity journey is unfolding beautifully, one conscious word at a time. Click and continue this transformation with me there. Thank you.